good morning, and welcome to Coffee and Sports. This is the morning show. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzek, and to my far right, I got the man that knows better. It's Mr. Mo Better.
Hey, morning, Gene. Morning, chat. Hey, welcome, Tony. Good to see you again. What's up?
Glad to be here, man.
My guy Seven. My guy Seven is killing it.
My man in the middle. He's a Boston Red Sox fan. See the big B on the hat. Hey, listen, I'll tell you right now. Garrett Crochet was on one yesterday. Got to give him all the credit in the world. Great game, Red Sox, Yankees. My man Seven from podcast named Deferred. You see him on the Sports Report, and he is one of our Major League Baseball experts. Good morning, Seven.
Man, Garrett Crochet's last pitch, his 117th pitch of the game, was 100 miles an hour, tying his season record. At 117 pitches, he had that much gas in him. That's just ridiculous.
He was great last night, and I want to add to that. I think the best pitch he made the entire game was the 90. It was like a 98 mile an hour cutter he threw on the outside portion of the plate to strike out Aaron Judge in a big spot. He was great last night. And by the way, if you were deciding, I know that the votes for Cy Young have to be in before the playoffs, but if you were deciding on who your Cy Young was based off of their performances yesterday, Tariq Skubal and Garrett Crochet basically said it's still a little bit murky waters because both those guys played out of their mind. My man Skubal had 14 strikeouts, pitched into the 8th inning. Garrett Crochet pitched 8 strong innings. I thought both pitchers pitched out of their minds. It's fun for Major League Baseball. But before we get into Major League Baseball, there was a Game 5 that happened last night.
Yes.
And it's a Game 5 that the Aces needed to win this Game 5. The league needed the Aces to win this Game 5. Is the face of the franchise Caitlin Clark playing? No. Did Sophie Cunningham? Aaliyah Boston fouls out. Kelsey Mitchell leaves injured. It's cramps, hopefully. It's just cramps.
Hopefully.
But that's Sydney Colson. They lost so many players during the season, and to push the Aces in Las Vegas, the 5 games, and then into overtime with Odyssey Sims, who was not on the team a month and a half ago. She was, I always forget the name of it, but they allow you to pick up a player due to injury when you have so many injuries. They give you a free contract. They're just like, and by the way, the foul on AB was awful, Key. You're absolutely correct. It was wild that they called that. They fouled her out on it. The Fever even challenged to play to give them an opportunity to be like, you sure you want to foul out Aaliyah Boston on that? Look, I think maybe I'm wrong. Mo, stop me if I'm wrong. But the last foul of the game, I think your foul out when you're one of the best players on the team needs to be an obvious and clear foul. Judge it differently if you have to.
What I don't understand is they was allowing so much contact. They were allowing so much contact, and she had gotten a bad whistle, like I said earlier, from the jump. For her to go out on that kind of foul at that point in the game, that's just a horrible call. And honestly, when they challenged and they were talking about, because I was like, they're gonna let that stand. I was blown away by that. I really was. And look, maybe it's to what Gene said. The league needed the Aces to win because the Fever, what business did the Fever have with all their injuries going to the championship? That doesn't happen. That's not supposed to happen. And I guess because we like a storybook ending or whatever, the idea that they would go on a run minus their best player is kind of crazy. Look, I'm taking nothing away from the Aces. I'm taking nothing away from how great A'ja Wilson is. I'm just really impressed that Indiana could take them into overtime to the brink. It took A'ja Wilson and company to have a monster game to pull that out, and it was still in doubt late.
It's funny because Asia Wilson and Jackie Young were like the only two people scoring for the Aces throughout the entire game. And then down the stretch, Chelsea Gray got involved with a couple big shots, including a huge three-pointer. The Aces ultimately proved to be too much in overtime, winning 107-98. They were down 6 points. Sorry, they were up 8 points going into the fourth quarter. And the Fever ran them down and marched them completely down. And it just what is that picture? What do you have? Is that Asia? Aces number one.
I've got the CC right under it, but yeah, she got to be here to hang out.
Chelsea Gray was scored surf in overtime. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Good
morning. Good morning. Listen, it was a great game 5. What's unfortunate is you could tell that Fever team has a lot of grit, determination, and no matter what, you just couldn't eliminate them. You're going to get Aces versus Mercury. Phoenix has played great this year. Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, my girl from North Philly, Kalia Copper, versus the Aces. Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd. It'll be a fun WNBA finals, which we'll preview. We'll obviously preview that on another show. But I just wanted to get your final thoughts on Game 5, Fever versus Aces.
Great series. Except I didn't like the calls, but I'm not going to complain. I think the Fever, the fact that no matter what happened, any adversity that came their way, they just fought through it. So that's why I thought the Fever had a chance to win this series. The Aces came in there with the best player in the league and all the talent in the world, but the Fever are just all heart. And they deserve their flowers for the kind of season they had, despite all their injuries.
Mo, what do I always tell you? I always tell you cannot start the show with the main event. You cannot start the show with the entree. And I think a Game 5 should be the entree. And when you're talking about the WNBA, it had every right to be the entree. But the entree of the WNBA yesterday was Napheesa Collier's pipe bomb. And look, yes. It is absolute scorched earth pipe bomb. This was CM Punk sitting on the top of the stage, breaking down the WWE. The runner-up for league MVP went scorched earth on the microphone yesterday. I'm going to read you a couple excerpts of her pre-written statement. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world. Collier said she spoke to Engelbert during the offseason, asked the commissioner how the league would address the officiating. Engelbert said, well, only the losers complain about the referees. I'll start there because there's another really big part that we kind of got to bring into that, but I want to start there. When one of the player association vice presidents is speaking to the commissioner about how we can fix the officiating in the game, on the record or off the record, the response are only losers complain about the officials. What is your take on that, Mo?
My take is she should have known who she was talking to. She should have known who she was talking to. Fee was not going to take that standing. And she was going to speak on it, and she did. That response, to me, is a fireable offense. That's horrible. That's horrible. That is the opposite of leadership times 10. That is horrible. Only the losers? When everybody in the league has been constantly complaining about officiating, that's your response? That was just a horrible response. And she said it to the absolutely wrong player.
Napheesa Collier, one of the two, I don't know. Are they co-owners of Unrivaled? Her and Brianna?
That's right. She's got her own league.
So you know the girl's about her business. You understand that she understands how to properly officiate or how to properly maintain a league and understand what the women are worth. 7, your thoughts on Nafisa Collier's and the commissioner comments on the officiating in the WNBA.
I think that Engelbert's comments as a whole are just completely ignoring the player experience and the comments that players and fans have had all year. It was very narcissistic. Like, don't get me wrong. In a one-off scenario, yes, only the losers are going to complain about officiating. I get that 100%. But when you look at the broad spectrum of the games, I've been a WNBA fan since I was a kid. I remember Diana Taurasi's rookie year. Like, I've been going to Mercury games since I was a kid. The officiating has been inconsistent in the WNBA as a whole throughout the life of the league. And I don't know if it's that they don't have the budget to keep quality officials. I don't know if there's just not consistency in communication about how things should be officiated. I don't know where the issue lies because I'm not that involved with league management. But it's a problem. And for Engelbert to just completely ignore it, it is proof of her lack of leadership ability. And I don't think that, like you said, I think that a lot of the things that Engelbert allegedly said in that meeting are fireable offenses. You can't have the top of your league, especially as you're trying to grow the WNBA, responding to and treating players like that. It's inexcusable.
7, the funny thing is, I didn't even get into the worst comment that she made. And I want to give Nafisa Collier all the credit in the world because Nafisa Collier was very intelligent on how she worded the statement about Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, and Caitlin Clark. So I'm going to read you that part next. Kathy Engelbert is the WNBA commissioner. Nafisa Collier is having a conversation with her and goes, the 5-time All-Star and 2024 Defensive Player of the Year recalled that the conversation with Engelbert asked why young stars such as Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers should make so little on their rookie contracts when they're contributing so much money to the league. Her response was, Caitlin, and I guarantee you it wasn't just Caitlin, Angel, Paige, and then her response was Caitlin. I know this was very intelligent by Nafisa Collier, but this is what she did to get all the Caitlin Clark stands on her side. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. I don't mean to be an asshole when I say this, but I want you to just go back and check some of the tape of those Iowa games, and especially the Final Four game versus in the finals game versus LSU and the Elite Eight game versus LSU when Angel and Caitlin met for the second time. Those comments are insane. The Big Three offered her $3 million to play basketball in the Big Three. Unrivaled would give her an open check and say, you write what you want.
Yep.
To say that she would make nothing without the WNBA platform. And it was very strategic when Nafisa Collier did that.
Brilliant.
Strategic.
Absolutely brilliant. This is the thing that frustrates me because, like you said, you could go back, you could check the tape. Nolan Ryan going to a college women's finals game. That's not a small draw. You can look at the list of celebrities that went to watch Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese play, that have seen Paige Buchers play. These women are not having a small impact on the WNBA. They are the meat of the growth of the WNBA that we're seeing over the last couple of years. And for Engelbert to just completely discredit that is mind-blowing to me. She should have been fired this morning. And for Jason Whitlock yesterday on PTI to criticize Nafisa Collier for calling out Engelbert, Jason Whitlock, man, if I was on Sports Report, I would say some more choice words. But you need to just keep your mouth shut on that one. That was out of pocket for you to criticize her.
That's not the only thing Jason Whitlock says that's stupid. I don't like to give that man the credit of even mentioning his name He's a moron, and I'll get into his kids. He's going to be my "you got to be kidding me" tonight for his comments about Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl, but that's not for here nor there. Mo, your thoughts on and by the way, I missed this one quote. And I don't know how I missed it. This is also a statement that Kathy Engelbert needs to be really careful with the way she words the statement. And if she was a man, she'd be fired immediately for the statement. She said, Engelbert said the players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the $2.2 billion media rights deal that I negotiated.
Look, I'm going to go back to what Dean said earlier. Napheesa Collier, I feel like she steered this conversation right to where she wanted it to go.
100%.
And let's not forget, again, she has her own league, and Key's right. She's so smart. She proposed a partnership, knowing that she is more in touch with the other players. She's more in touch with the players' mindset and what they're going through. She can relate to them. But I want to go back to the Caitlin Clark comment. Who ever before Caitlin Clark watched Iowa basketball? Even people that are in Iowa didn't watch Iowa basketball.
I don't watch Iowa men's basketball.
Right. And I still don't watch Iowa men's basketball. Right. And by the way, I'm not sure they're watching Iowa's women's basketball as much either because she's gone. To say that she should be lucky to make that kind of the disrespectful comments. I don't understand when your league is in its moment. In its moment, when you're growing, when revenue, you're going to start making money, when things are on the upswing, and you have such awful relationships between the top of the league, the leadership, and the players. How do you go forward with that type of toxic relationship and lack of leadership at top? That's crazy.
I want to say this really quick.
You're good.
The growth of the WNBA has been nice for the last couple of years. We look at what Taylor said about the WNBA overtaking Major League Baseball in 15 to 20 years. I think that's wrong, but one of the reasons why Major League Baseball has stalled in growth is the separation between players and leadership of the league because they're not on the same page, and the owners keep driving that wedge deeper and deeper and deeper. We are going to start to see that in the WNBA, and it's going to stall growth unless they take action and fix that relationship, because when you're growing like this, you need unity.
Yeah. So you're right. I guess I want to read you Engelbert's statement, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for her intentionally, because I feel like we need to hear both sides of the story, and that's just something I want to do. Engelbert released a statement on Tuesday afternoon following Collier's comments, saying she has the utmost respect for Collier and all players, and adding, "We've worked tirelessly to transform this league. My focus remains on ensuring a bright future for all the players and the WNBA, including collaborating on how we can continue to elevate the game. I am disheartened by how Napheesa characterized our conversations and league leadership. But even when our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and to this work will not waver. When Fee speaks, people listen." Elena Deladon then commented and said, "When Fee speaks, people listen. We are confident that her words today speak to the feelings and experiences of many, if not most or all of our members. The leaders of the league and its teams would benefit from listening to her powerful statement. The players know their value, even if the league does not. They are fighting for the legacy and future of basketball." First of all, Kathy Engelbert's response was, "I'm not going to trash you." And I'll give her credit, because that's the best response you could have gave in the situation you were at. Here's my pushback, and I would love for Seven or Mo to talk me off this ledge. I want to ask you guys a question. Who benefits the most from a WNBA lockout?
The owners.
I don't agree.
Well,
do you have
it's.
I'll give you a point. Go ahead.
I was saying the reason why I think it's the owners is because the growth is still at a point where the league is not quite in the black. It's gotten better. We all know that the league's been subsidized by the NBA for a while. It's gotten better, but it's still not quite in the black. So without those operation expenses coming out and that little loss or break even, they're not seeing, it's not an impact on them financially. So that's why I say the owners.
I think it favors the players because you did just sign all those revenue deals. You turn around and do a lockout. You know how that impacts those deals? And look, I'm not saying that Fees League can give them all the contracts that they want, but I think that they've never been more popular as a league. I think that Fees League would highlight players' empowerment and individual talents. I think if I'm the players, I want the lockout. I want that smoke, especially right now.
I think Unrivaled benefits the most from a lockout. And when you have Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart as the two people leading the negotiations for the Players Association, I agree with something I said and an article that was written in July that it's a conflict of interest. I am still on the players' side. I am still on the Napheesa Collier's side. However, I don't think the owners of a rivaled or unrivaled league should be the ones and the ones that would benefit the most from the WNBA lockout should be the ones that are leading the charge of the lockout. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's facts. And I agree with everything you're saying, which is why there's this part of me that I'm looking at Fee and go, she's so smart, right? Like, she's speaking for the players, but at the same time, she can't lose in this situation because she has Unrivaled. So I'm not saying she said this, but she's probably implying like, all right, you blow it up and you lock us out. My league is still going to be functioning. We're going to still be like, I think Gene's right. You can't, one, represent the players within the league structure, but also be a co-owner of another league without that seeming shady at a minimum. And I'm not accusing Fee of being shady, but it is a conflict of interest. The same way, and I don't want to go too deep into this, where LeBron James is trying to be part of another league opposite of the NBA while he's still in the NBA.
I have a question. And you guys, and because I'm not as in with as far as the rules and stuff with basketball for the NBA and the WNBA as you guys are. So this is a legitimate question for me. Could the WNBA league call out that conflict of interest and force the Players Association to put other individuals in that position because of their outside interests?
No, the answer is no, because the Players Association is elected by the players.
Exactly.
So they're the ones, the league could not. I think that the WNBA players that strictly play in the WNBA could make a change and call for that. And I think they should, if I'm being completely transparent with you. Napheesa Collier is an excellent businesswoman. Breanna Stewart, I don't know, but I've everything I've seen from Napheesa Collier, I know that she knows what she's doing. And by the way she went about that press conference was aces. It was perfect. But I don't want to ignore what I view as a conflict of interest of the league that benefits the most from a lockout is the league that she owns. And that to me feels like it's, and there's a lot of players that play in the WNBA that do not play in Unrivaled. Unrivaled is a 3-on-3 league with less teams. So just giving you I want to give some pushback from the players. I do think some of the demands that they're asking for are wild. I've been very consistent in the fact that I think that they're a bit premature for the amount of money that they're asking for, but it is a negotiation. So I don't want to pretend that they shouldn't be. Listen, you want to ask for $1 billion, you're never going to get it, but you can ask for $1 billion. But in the same respect, the league's been subsidized and only owns 42% of the league. So 50% of profit share is not really 50% of profit share because 58% of it goes out the door. So just giving my perspective, my 2 cents on that.
I feel like one of the reasons why I haven't let the numbers that it sounds like they're asking for at the start of this, what they're saying publicly, rattle me is simply because I think it's more of an aggression tactic. I don't think at the end of the day we're going to be seeing them, actually land on where rookies are getting $1 million a year. I don't think that's going to happen. But do I think it's going to end up over like 250? That's more possible. I think that's a little bit more realistic.
They offered $250,000 minimum for rookies, and they offered $1 million for max contracts for players. So I think that's a huge pay increase.
Yeah, that's reasonable because you're getting things in motion, and the growth is going to be there. And so when you come up to the next CBA, you can negotiate that, you can show that, and you're going to have a lot more growth to speak on at that point to be able to expand that in the future. But giving rookies going from $75,000 a year to $250,000, that's good. That's huge. That's huge. They're getting more of a jump than we saw minor league baseball players get. They're getting more of a jump than we saw than G League guys get. Like, that's huge. I think that would be very beneficial to them.
All right, we got to move forward. We're 28 minutes in. I'm glad the conversation around the WNBA is where it's at. However, yesterday we had the opening of wild card playoff baseball. My man Taylor in the chat, I love him. He goes, my kids love football, love hockey, couldn't care less about baseball. MLB is so out of touch. They're starting playoff games at 1 p.m. Only 27,000 yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Right. I take off for the first wild card game all the time so I can sit and watch all the games during the day. To me, it's like MLB opening day all over again. And if we're being transparent, because the turnaround time is so quick from regular season to playoffs and you don't know where the games are going to be, the tickets are so inexpensive to go to the games. I think that the MLB could benefit from a week off or 12 less games in the regular season to be able to have that, I guess, space to be like, all right, well, the 3 games are in Cleveland next week, and we can schedule that. We don't have to. The season ends Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're playing playoff baseball. Oh, where are we playing? I'll tell you at the end of Sunday night. Like, what the hell? What time are we playing? I'll tell you Monday morning. I'm like, wait a minute. How the hell does that make sense?
Well, in that time off would benefit teams like the Yankees. The Yankees, if it goes to a game 3 tomorrow, the Yankees are going to have to use Schlittler, I think it's his last name, for their starter. If they were waiting a week, then they would be able to use Luis Gil after Rodon, and that puts the Yankees in a better position. Objectively. Now, as a Red Sox fan, I'm saying this is only going to go through game 2, but, realistically, anything can happen. But the Yankees won't have Gil tomorrow because of this slow turnaround time. I do agree that there should be a week because everybody can reset. You can kind of allow some injuries to heal, get some advertising going. I think that it has a better optics that way. I agree.
Yesterday's playoff games were fun, right? Yes. Watched a lot of them. I watched them all, actually. When you look at that, and this is the only problem I have with Major League Baseball. Only problem I have, Seven, is baseball games shouldn't be played at 4 p.m. I hate saying this. I'll give you an example of what I mean. I don't care if you put the West Coast team at 4 p.m. so they start at 1 o'clock. You can get around this. They shouldn't be playing baseball games with shadows. It's not fair. It's not conducive to the sport. And what happened yesterday in the first 2 playoff games is exactly why people tune out of Major League Baseball. I love a pitcher's duel. I love a 3-1 game and 2-1 game. But if you watch Padres Cubs yesterday, in the middle of that baseball game, the pitcher's mound was in the sun and the hitters were in the shade. And it is impossible to pick up a 95-mile-an-hour fastball when there's all sun. And then you're going to throw, it's going to start in the sun and then go through the shade. It happens every year. It happened to the Phillies 2 years ago. It happens every year they have a team scheduled from the East Coast or the Central Time Zone that starts at 4 o'clock or 3:30 or whatever, and the sun is going down over the stadium and they're pitching through shadows. Thank God the Phillies are a high market team and they're going to end up playing the Dodgers, and that'll be your late game so I won't have to worry about this year. But if I'm the San Diego Padres and I have a lineup like that, and I'm playing this game in Chicago, and I'm like, what the hell? That's wild to me. It happened at the end of the Detroit Guardians game too. It's like when Detroit took that 3-1 lead, or 2-1 lead, I didn't think Cleveland could score again. And then they almost did. We'll get into that base running goof in a minute. But what are your thoughts on baseball start times?
I think they're hamstrung by the fact that they kept everything to ESPN, which I said this on the morning show on Monday. I am surprised with the way that ESPN has tried to pull away from baseball, that they want the wild card exclusive to ESPN and ABC. That to me is crazy. But I do agree that start time should be more prime time for the market that the game is played in. I understand that they're trying to get some ratings and all of that, but playoff baseball should be primetime baseball without question. I understand you've got a lot of games you're trying to work in. You're trying to keep everything condensed because baseball is trying to keep, excuse me, the postseason from going into November. Baseball doesn't like it when that happens. And I get it, because you go into some areas where it's really cold, especially like if they have to go to Toronto in November, that's going to suck. So I get that part of it. But at the same time, it should be in prime time. You better advertising rates, so you're going to make more money there. You'll have more ticket sales, because like I left work early yesterday, and luckily my boss was able to get it for me on short notice so that I could make sure I could be fully attentive for all of the Red Sox Yankees game. But on that short of a notice, it's hard for people to get off work. That's why I agree with what you said earlier. There should be a week between so it's easier to plan.
Mo, I like your thoughts on this as a whole, but if I was scheduling Major League Baseball games, I would schedule it like the NFL schedules primetime games, like especially what they're doing ESPN on Monday nights with football. If you want ESPN and ABC to have both games, you do a doubleheader on both networks, and you have a little bit of overlap. And then a lot of people with these streaming services like YouTube TV or Hulu Live, they can broadcast 2 games on the one TV at the same time. I would do a 5:57 start and a 9:07 start, and then on another network I would do a 7:37 start and a 10:15 start for the West Coast game, because there always is one. And I would just literally play it out like that and have them all play during primetime hours. And what you could do, if I'm a casual baseball fan, I'm a Phillies fan, I want to watch all 4 games. Well, yeah, I'm going to start with the game that starts, and then I'm going to finish that game out. And by the time I pick up the next game, it's in the 5th inning. I'm like, oh, shit, let's go. Like, I get to watch them all. But if you're a fan of a team that's in the playoffs, you can make it home from work and watch the game. Mo, what are your thoughts on the timing?
As a casual fan, I think primetime games is the way to go, right? Yeah. You're gonna bring in the casual fan. You're also gonna bring in those fans that have been diehards, and they'll be able to get off work and be able to be. I don't understand how there's a simple solution in front of you, and yet you make it so complicated. And I think that's disappointing. Why wouldn't I disagree with the comment in there that that baseball is fading. I don't think baseball is fading. I just don't think they're scheduling it to the best of their ability to highlight the postseason. I'm a casual fan throughout the regular season, but postseason baseball is it. I can watch a game that's 1-0, just a pitcher's duel, nothing going on. And yet, if you're really watching it, everything's going on. And I love baseball this time of year. This is when you highlight how difficult and how challenging to play the game of baseball is. It's postseason baseball. And why wouldn't you want to highlight that in primetime?
I love close games. I also love pitchers' duels, but you got to have more than 11 total runs in the first 3 games of your wild card round. 3-1, 2-1, 3-1 is just, I guess watch hockey if you want to see that, or soccer.
I get what
Seth,
you're saying to a
I
point.
can hear you about to tell me I'm wrong because the Leafs.
Well, no. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I think what's getting lost in this is almost every pitcher that threw yesterday to start a game was an ace.
Yeah.
We're talking about Garrett Crochet and Max Fried. That was a pitcher's duel for the ages. Those are two of the best pitchers in the league as a whole. You had Nick Pivetta and Matthew Boyd, I think is his first name.
Matthew Boyd stunk for the second half of the season, though.
He did, but he also still, despite that, finished the regular season with an ERA of 3.2. Like, that's not bad at all. And then you had Skubal and I can't remember who it was that started for the Guardians yesterday.
Williams.
Garrett Wilson also saw. So it was
Gavin Williams. Sorry, Gavin Williams.
Okay. There was yesterday, I think, was more a product of the talent that was on the mound and playoff locking in, and a lot of hitters that I think didn't expect it. Now, would it surprise me if the MLB threw some juice balls into some games today? Like, are we probably going to see juice balls in the Yankees-Red Sox game today? Yeah. Are we going to see juice balls in the Cubs-Padres game today? Probably. Tonight for the Dodgers game, maybe not, because Shohei seems to be able to take care of it, whether the balls are juiced or not. But you never know; it could get interesting. But I think yesterday was more a product with the lower scoring out of that first three games. Yesterday was more a product of the talent that was on the mound because I
disagree with you on Cubs Padres. Cubs Padres. Listen, we can argue about Tigers, Indians, or Guardians. We can argue about Yankees, Red Sox, and I'll agree with you. But I'm not going to agree with you in Chicago versus San Diego. The Shadows played too much of a part in that game, and both those pitchers. The Shadows were a problem. If they were in prime time, I think we might see a little action just because of the hitting lineups on both of those teams. But the Nick
pitchers
Pivetta went against Matthew Boyd. I mean, Pivetta's had a great year, but he's no friggin' superstar. And Matthew Boyd, like I don't know, man. I think Chicago versus San Diego, you missed a lot of like that San Diego lineup, and I want to see that San Diego lineup. Listen, I don't want to see it as a Phillies fan, but I want to see it as a postseason viewer. Tatis, Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Xander, like Cronenworth, like they're loaded. Ryan O'Hearn, like that lineup is loaded.
That lineup is loaded, and you're 100% correct. But like with Pivetta, one of the things to remember with Pivetta is, and I just, maybe it's for me because I've had such a long relationship with Pivetta, but Pivetta's been in the playoffs quite a few times. He has that experience. He locks in the postseason. As a Phillies fan, you should remember that from the early part of his career.
I do, but I also remember the fact he's got a 4 ERA his whole career outside of this year.
Right, and
he's had
because he's had some down years, yeah, and that's fair. But like, there is the Shadows did play a part in it. I will concede to that, and that's always a problem at Wrigley though. And the league has never made an adequate decision on how to handle that because they think they love day games at Wrigley. It looks good, and I just don't like it.
Then do it at 1 o'clock. Then you don't have to deal with the Shadows at 1.
That should have been the earlier game, 100%.
I do want to ask you about 2 things. Yeah, and as a Red Sox fan, I promise you I'll get the Yankees, Red Sox. But I do want to ask you about 2 things quickly. Jose Ramirez. Ridiculous play by Javi Baez. Diving play up the middle on a ball that was barreled. That first baseman for Detroit has to pick that ball. He doesn't pick it. It bounces off of J-Ram's legs. He ends up getting a triple, not a triple, but a single with a 2-base error. And they gave the throwing error on Baez, which, by the way, is criminal because that first baseman has to pick that ball.
Has to.
That gets on third as the tying run at home with nobody out in the 9th inning. And they don't score him. Strikeout from your 4-hitter. And then a ground out to the pitcher where he breaks and gets literally thrown out in a rundown. You cannot make that type of base running mistake. That was off. Why are you going on contact on a ball to the pitcher?
that was definitely on J-Ram. And that's the thing is because he knows better. And for a mistake to happen at that point when the Guardians really needed him to be at his best because of his, he's elite. He really is an elite player. I was shocked because I was watching. I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That was the mistake that you see out of a rookie or, Ian Happ hoping he's going to get lucky. That's as a desperation play. To me, it is a bigger deal that he made that mistake than what happened with the Yankees and the Red Sox in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. Did Mo? I'm not sure if you caught any Yankees Red Sox at all. I know you're a Dodgers guy. Did you catch any Yankees Red Sox yesterday?
I could have. I mean, obviously the Dodgers had an easy time. I'm not gonna brag, but yeah,
I love it.
I mean, it's the Reds. That's supposed to go the way it went. It went exactly how it's supposed to go. No, I did see the ending. What's his name? I saw the ending of the Yankees game.
They exploded nobody out.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on in baseball?
And correct me if I'm wrong. A former Yankee finishes it off like that.
Not wrong.
That's insane. And you can tell when he catches him looking like dude is like, yes, like you always want to get that revenge. You always want to get back at your old team.
I mean, that had the lineup to be one of the biggest screw yous to Aroldis Chapman after leaving the Yankees, going to the Red Sox. He loads the bases with nobody out. Stanton, who's an absolute postseason monster, goes up against the left-handed speed of Aroldis Chapman. Like, you had the opportunity to get a Yankees walk-off versus your old closer, and he went strikeout, ground out, I apologize. Strikeout, fly out to short right field, strikeout to end that game. Stanton, Chisholm, and Grisham. And then the part that I guess frustrates me is the Yankees bullpen all year has been awful. Awful. Max Fried gives you 6 1/3. No one's on base. You pull him out of the game at 102 pitches. What are you saving him for? The 100. Let him finish the goddamn 6th inning, the 7th inning. What are you saving him for? And you bring in Luke Weaver, who gives up hit, walk, hit, and it's 2-1 Red Sox. I knew immediately the Yankees were going to lose that game. It's crazy. Devin Williams was the only guy that had a clean inning. 7.
The criticism of Aaron Boone's management skills is becoming more valid by the day. Oh. There's times where I will try to defend him and talk about player execution. But if Boone doesn't pull Fried until after the 7th inning, I don't know that Boston wins that game. That was a horrible decision. Garrett Crochet was absolutely hurling, but you hadn't given up a run. Wasn't really even very many guys on base at that point. Like it was, I was thankful when they took Fried out. Yeah, it was 102 pitches, and that can be hard, but he's a Cy Young type pitcher. You can get 120 out of him if you need to sometimes. Like it's you shouldn't rely on it, but he was probably going to get 5 days rest. So it'll be okay.
People save pitchers for this opportunity. Like the guy, Weaver comes in and walks Rafael, the fastest guy on the Red Sox, on 4 pitches.
Yep.
Like this guy, Rafael is not swinging unless he has 2 strikes in that situation. He walked him on 4 pitches. Then, by the way, and this is the last thing I'll say about this, Kevin, I don't know what they have to do, but next year they cannot have Aaron Judge has to be a DH. His arm is shot. If they want him to, his arm's done. They took that double because it was a single to right. There's no one in the league that presses that. By the way, that kid gets cut. They might not even let him finish the series. if he gets thrown out second base there, because that's a ridiculous risk, and it paid off. And they did it because Aaron Judge has no arm.
Yep. They knew. And that's the thing. That's been the clear intel. And I said a couple of times later in the season, after Aaron Judge went down, they said it was his arm, and they said what the issue was. He needs to get TJ. Yeah. He needs to get Tommy John. And he needs to, or at least the brace. And he needs to just be a DH. Because the Yankees can't be successful without his bat right now. And that's why I lean towards him for the MVP, because his bat is that impactful for them. But at the same time, he had one really good catch in right field last night that was absolutely stellar that I don't think a lot of players could have made. But that speed and that ability,
he's 7 foot,
is right. Like that speed and that ability is great. But if you can't back it up by being able to get the ball in, like it's more of a liability than it is a help at this point with him in right field.
The guy, Nick Sogard, he literally has a 660 OPS for the year and a negative WAR.
Yeah.
And he makes the running play of the game. He knew the guy that was, and it's even the announcers asked, like, how close was that ball to letting the center fielder have it and not having Judge throw that ball in? His arm is absolutely shot. He had nothing on that throw. And if you have Grisham throw that ball, I don't know if he's safe. I don't know if he goes.
That's fair. Yeah. If that was to anybody else, I think he stays at first. He went to second because the intel was, if you have to rely on Judge to make a deep throw, leg it out, is just book it. Take the risk because you're probably going to get it. And they were right.
100%. Red Sox win game 1. Game 2 is today. 7, if you don't mind, we're going to one more topic I want to get into, but I want to get your quick predictions as quick as possible for today's games. So you got Tigers, Guardians, Casey Mize versus Tanner Bibay.
I think Cleveland comes back today. This is the one out of all of these that I think goes to 3 games for sure. The Guardians had a nice recovery at the end of the season, and I think that J-Ram is going to be wanting to prove that he's not going to make the same mistake that he did yesterday, so I think we see a little extra out of him today. I think that it's another low-scoring game, but I think that the Guardians leg it out.
You want to talk about a guy that shouldn't be pitching in the shadows. Dylan never cease to amaze me. Is going to go in game 2 versus Andrew Kittredge. I love the Padres in this one. This is my lock of the day. I think Cease overwhelms them. I'll take the Padres. Who do you have in this one?
I'm in the same boat. I think the Padres take this one.
Do you think that the Red Sox are actually going to sweep the Yankees in Fenway?
Objectively, yes, and here's why. Carlos Rodon in his 3 games against the Red Sox this season, in a total of 3 starts, he has not gotten 10 strikeouts combined, and he has a 5.72 ERA. Boston is going to eat him up, and once he gets pressure on them, New York is going to have to pivot to their bullpen again. And as we've already discussed, that bullpen is not reliable, and so that's why I think Boston has a shot. If New York wins it, I wouldn't be completely surprised. Rodon is a great pitcher, but Boston has had his number this year, and that's why I objectively lean towards the Red Sox in this game.
I feel really bad for the Cincinnati Reds. They had a fight to get into the playoffs. Used Nick Lodolo over the weekend. They are actually starting their 4th starter today. In Zachary Little. He's going against probably the runner-up for Cy Young and Yamamoto, or third for Cy Young and Yamamoto for the Dodgers. Mo, any chance that the Cincinnati Reds pull off this game today?
I'll go slim and none, and Slim's out of town, so yeah.
By the way, Detroit is not minus 165 on the money line. That might have been yesterday's game with Skubal pitching. The Guardians are actually favored in that game.
Slightly now.
Yeah, 135 to 115. Actually, I think it's crazy that the Padres are even money. But we got
they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be.
They shouldn't. I think the Guardians win today. I think the Padres win today. I go Guardians, Padres, Yankees, Dodgers.
It's fair.
Mo, the Browns have benched Joe Flacco. Returned to Dylan Gabriel as their starting quarterback. My favorite part of this comment, I have to read it. Let me pull it up real quick. Adam Schefter goes, changing Cleveland. The Browns are benching veteran Joe Flacco in favor of Dylan Gabriel, per sources. The Browns were informed of this change this morning. Like, they're playing in London versus Brian Flores. Am I missing something here? Is this really the game that you want to start your rookie quarterback? That first game. Hey, Dylan, go play against Brian Flores over in Tottenham. Mo?
I would have made the change. I wouldn't have made it this week.
Yeah.
Like you really want him to have to process and see what's going on versus a Brian Flores coach defense. You are literally setting this young kid up for failure.
I'm amazed that would be the thought process of the Cleveland Browns. I knew the change was coming. Dylan Gabriel came into the game last week when the Browns were losing to the Lions. I knew the change was coming. I just didn't think that we would go, hey, first start, we're gonna go over to London and we're gonna put you against Brian Flores' defense. By the way, we're gonna tell the team Wednesday morning. Like, what? That is an insane.
Makes zero sense.
I will say this. I will say this. I think we all have a ton of respect for Brian Flores as a coach and what he does with his defense. But on the flip side, if the Vikings QB is going to turn the ball over the way they turn the ball over with Wentz, I think Cleveland's going to be in a position to win that football game. I don't think your offense has to be great to win that football game because Carson Wentz doesn't take care of the football.
He does not. I think Seven, your thoughts on the Browns going away from Joe Flacco into Dylan Gabriel?
It was only a matter of time. I think we all knew that coming into the season. Joe Flacco was not the permanent option. You were just trying to give Dylan Gabriel a chance to get his feet under him and get a little bit more of the playbook under him before you turn him loose. But the timing was just awful, absolutely awful. Especially when you look at the fact that they've got some better opportunities coming up where it would be better for him to get to get some experience, because like in 2 weeks you've got Miami. You're telling me you can't suffer through with Joe Flacco for another couple of weeks? Unless Flacco's injured, Flacco should be playing the next 2 weeks. You've got the Vikings and you got the Steelers. That week after that is Miami. That team is absolutely devastated now. You're going to have a much better shot against Miami for your starting game than where he's going, because he's got a gauntlet the next 2 weeks of defenses. Like, that's insane.
I can't see that being, it worked out really well for the New York Giants. Jackson Dart is starting. They won a football game, unfortunately. What'd you say? What are you laughing at? About a comment?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But I just, in my opinion, I think that it's a bad decision for them. I do want to get your quick thoughts. I promise you I'll touch on this more tonight on Wire to Wire. But I am amazed at, and I'm not, please follow my lead here and do not take this political, do not take this any bit further than sports. I am amazed at how ignorant the comments about Bad Bunny being the halftime show for the NFL have been. Do you know how many people that don't know that Puerto Rico is part of America? I just what are we doing? Why are we that stupid? God, Mo.
I know we are not a political network, so I'm going to keep this as simple as I can. Sadly, and I truly believe this, half our country does not know that Puerto Rico is part of us.
So-
I'm not even joking. That's a real thing. I don't want to get it. I don't want to go into those waters because it's so toxic. To make a big deal of it out of something that shouldn't be made a big deal of. When I watch the Super Bowl, I'm watching the game. I'm enjoying the game. And if you bring out somebody who's talented and is a great entertainer, I'm watching them based off of that alone and only that.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. And they can't.
It's awful. It's a terrible. How ignorant some people are. It's beyond me. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of people that are going to be upset over who performs at halftime every year because it's not their brand of music.
True.
If they had Metallica playing at halftime, I would be upset. I don't listen to friggin' Metallica. But like I wouldn't be upset to the point where I'm just like, oh, I can't believe they have Metallica. Let's get an American to be. What are we doing?
Right.
And this moron, and I promise, this little foreshadowing. This moron, Jason Whitlock, was asked about the situation with Bad Bunny, and he said that will Roger Goodell be inviting Satan to perform because he has demonic music, and then referenced Morgan Wallen as like, oh, if they put Morgan Wallen in there, I wouldn't have any problem with it. Morgan Wallen, the same abusive man. You have to read the quotes. I will go into it deeper tonight, Seven. But he's literally saying, well, if they use someone like Morgan Wallen, who's had his own troubles, but it doesn't have demonic music, is what he said. Morgan Wallen has abused women. What are we talking about? I just can't understand how stupid people are.
I unfortunately have to deal with Morgan Wallen's music because I host karaoke on Friday and Saturday night in a small town in Kansas, so people won't shut the heck up about him.
Yeah.
But it for me, like my reason for not being sure about Bad Bunny has everything to do with the fact that most of his music is primarily Spanish. I don't speak a lot of Spanish, but I also know that Bad Bunny is a great performer. He did fantastic every time he's appeared with WWE. He has been a hard worker every time by all accounts for those performances. So I have no doubt that the show he's going to put on at the halftime show is great. But I was messaging my mom because she asked me, she didn't know who Bad Bunny is. My mom listens to classic rock and Barry Manilow. So of course she had no idea who he is. And I said, he mostly Spanish music. He's a great performer. I said, but watch the amount of people that are going to be freaking out saying that they want an American performer because they forget that Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. Right. And no sooner had I said that than that entire subject blew up. And I just sent my mom a message, just like called it. And she knew what I was talking about. She knew I was right.
The ignorance is insane. And then just the reference of grooming kids in drag shows, saying because Bad Bunny is like outfits like are more modern and like some of them are like over.
He's a performer.
Watch the halftime show. Turn the halftime show off. I'm sure people didn't want to see a pregnant Rihanna. I wanted to see a pregnant Rihanna, but pregnant Rihanna performed at halftime. They seen Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Bruno Mars, Beyonce. Like every year, it's a different performer at halftime.
Right.
Like if you don't like their music, that's perfectly fine. But shut the fuck up.
Right. Like every year,
just like you said. Go ahead.
Just saying that the late great Prince performed. I love Prince, but not everybody loves Prince or the way he dresses. But he's American, right? Like they gotta stop. Everything is not a tug of war, but they make it into a political tug of war no matter what, and that just wears on you on a daily basis.
I love Damien. I'm still waiting for Jack Jackson.
You keep waiting. That is never going to happen.
He's kidding. Guys, we're at our time. Appreciate everybody tuning in this morning's morning show. Seven, thank you for joining us and bringing some baseball expertise. We had a fun show today. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Sure. Catch me.
Appreciate you guys.
Catch me tonight, podcast name deferred, 10 p.m. Eastern. We will be live reacting it to probably the Dodgers-Reds game while we're talking about what's going on in the postseason and kind of prepping the next series, because a lot of that's probably going to be taking shape tonight. And yeah, follow me on TikTok at FGD7, MLB Morning Minute every day, along with other videos. Check it out.
Love it. I love the live reactions too. I was going to ask you what you're going to do tonight. Mo, any final comments?
No, just appreciate the conversation. I'll be tuned in watching Wire to Wire tonight.
All right, we'll tune in to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Wire to Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, G. Molzak. That is the man that knows better. It's Mo Better. And our guest today is a man from the podcast named Deferred 7. Y'all have a great day.